And when you say you're speaking for the organization, how do you know that?
Because I've been given the authority.
Okay. And were you still in Department 20 when you were speaking for the organization in Portland?
No.
What department or where were you at that time?
At that time I was working at ASI, Author Services.
Okay. When did you change positions in Scientology, or excuse me, how long did you stay in the U.S. Guardian's office in Los Angeles?
Until early 1982.
And what happened then?
Connection is to the form.
What happened then? What's wrong with that form?
It's just an open-ended question that asks for a narrative.
Yeah, non-leading question.
No, but
doesn't
it's
have anything in it.
It's asking for a narrative. Asking, where did you go then? What was your new job? But what happened then? That's an open-ended narrative question.
It's amazing. I've been doing this for 20 years, and all of a sudden I don't know how to ask a question. It's amazing.
Well, I think every lawyer in this room would tell you that the form of your question is somewhat lacking.
Thank you. Mr. Young, what did you do after leaving the U.S. Guardian's office in Los Angeles?
I was promoted to what we designate as ASI, or Author Services, Inc.
Okay. What is Author Services, Inc.?
I have to sort of put it in the past tense for when I joined.
Okay.
Which it continued to be, but it was a for-profit organization that was created in late 1981.
Is it connected to Scientology?
Yes.
And when did you go to Author Services, Inc.?
Asked and answered.
I was approved in February '82.
And did you go in February of '82?
Yes.
So up until this time you were at the Los Angeles U.S. Guardian's office?
I was staff there, but as I mentioned earlier, I had gone off the premises during the changeover.
What was this special project you were talking about back in 1981, October or November? You said you were on project from October or November of '81.
I was asked to gather material to find out everything Hubbard had ever said about a biography written about his life, because a biography was being written, or possibly being written.
And who was the author of this biography?
Omar Garrison was the one that was being considered for the biography.
And how did you go about accomplishing this task?
I was sent to where I was told was a large archive, which was 4 floors down from us, which none of us knew about. And it turned out to be what has since been called within the organization the Armstrong Archives.
Traction, move, destroy.
And who called it the Armstrong Archives?
Well, that was the name that was pretty much designated loosely by some of us some months later.
Some of us where?
At ASI.
Okay. When you were on this project to research and gather material on this biography being written by Omar Garrison, were you in ASI or were you in the Guardian's office?
I was in the Guardian's office.
Okay. What were the circumstances that you changed from the U.S. Guardian's office to ASI?
While I was down there working on the project in the archives, I became acquainted with them, personnel from ASI, which was called Special Project at that time, and was subsequently recruited for ASI.
Now, this was 4 floors down in the building from where you were in the Guardian's office?
Yes.
All right. Did you meet this person, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
And what was he doing in this office?
He was the one that had compiled the archive and was basically the archivist.
Okay. And what did this archive consist of?
Oh, perhaps 25 4-drawer filing cabinets, most of them filled with documents pertaining to Hubbard's life that ranged from magazines and books, science fiction stuff, to private letters, checking account stubs, manuscripts, carbon copies of manuscripts. It was just like the paperwork of a man's life that he would just collect over 40 or 50 years.
And did you spend any time in this archive?
About 3 months.
And what did you do for this 3 month period?
Well, for the first 3 weeks, I was working on the project. Then one day, Jerry Armstrong disappeared. So for the rest of the time, it sort of fell to me, and I became the archivist by default.
And what did you do as the archivist?
Well, first of all, I tried to find out what I was supposed to be, since there was nobody else in charge of it. So that took a few weeks. And after that, I just spent my time reading.
Reading Mr. Hubbard's works?
Reading the private letters, love letters, checking account stubs. Yes.
Okay. Who recruited you after that period of time to ASI?
2 people, David Miscavige and Terry Gamboa.
And what position did Mr. Gamboa have at that time?
Terry Gamboa was a female.
Sorry. Miss Gamboa, what position did she have?
She was the executive director of Special Project. So it had this other code name because I did not even know it was ASI at the time.
Objection, move to strike, not responsive.
When you were recruited to this entity, what was the name of the entity that you were recruited to?
Special Project.
Okay. And what was Mr. Miscavige's position, if any, in Special Project at the time that you were recruited?
He was Special Project in charge, or we designated as I/C.
Okay. And what were you asked to do at Special Project? What was your assignment?
I was to be the Special Project PR.
And what were your duties as Special Project PR?
Well, once I was approved, I found out that I was going to become Hubbard's personal PR.
Objection, move to strike.
And how did you find out you were to become Mr. Hubbard's personal PR?
I was briefed by David Miscavige.
And approximately what month and year are we talking about?
March '82.
And did you ultimately become Mr. Hubbard's personal PR?
That's a tough question. I'd have to get it in a different form.
Okay, when you were recruited into Special Project, what were your duties?
Objection, ask and answer.
My duties was that I was to be the senior public relations person for everything involving L. Ron Hubbard in the world.
Okay, but what does that mean? What did you do to fulfill that assignment?
I was to, because this was a brand new organization with brand new powers, I had to create the command lines into the various networks, such as there was a network called the LRH PERS, P-E-R-S, which was short for Personal PR Network. I had to get command of that. I had to get command into the OSA PR network. And to be able to start building a pyramid so that there was one place under which all this was located. And I want to emphasize this was supposed to be just LRH. I wasn't interested in Scientology PR with my function.
What does it mean to get command in?
It means to be in control of, so I can give orders to and get compliances.